I've been mining for hours. Oh my gosh, finally. What is this? A gambling machine. Okay, let's bet. Let's bet. I feel like today feels like a good day. Let's bet everything I own. We're gonna win. Pink. Pink is a very lucky color. Let's see if we win. Oh no! My life savings! No! Hey guys, so what you saw there, that was the gambling machine in action. Now, believe it or not, this is just a 1 in 9 chance, and you pretty much lose just about every time. So I'm just saying, for those of you who go to Vegas and stuff like 1 in a million, I like those odds, you're not gonna win. I'm just saying. But anyway, let me explain how this guy works for you guys. So it's really simple. You put what you want to win in there, you choose the color that you want to bet for, and it'll set the scores of that color and everything. Then you gamble and it'll choose a random color, and depending on which color is chosen, that's what's gonna happen. And if you get if the colors match up, then you win and your stuff will get duplicated. But anyway, it actually does seem like kind of complicated. It looks pretty bad. I could build a mini game with this much redstone, but it's not too bad because most of the commands are doing the same thing, just in different lines. All we really need is just like one of these strips. So maybe this one right here, and then one of these strips, and that's pretty much all it is. So let me kind of explain what's happening. So the first thing that you have to do over here, you're going to have to push this button if you want the schematic to work, because I don't expect you guys to recreate this. You push this button and it just creates a bunch of objectives called gamble red, gamble dark green, gamble cyan. Basically just gamble objectives for every color. So just make sure to push this before you start. And also don't forget to put a redstone block right here to get this clock started. But yeah, so anyway, the reason there is a clock here, this game actually, I could make this work without a clock using data tags and stuff, but I didn't, for two reasons. One reason is because I was having a lot of trouble figuring out how to do the random data tags, but on the bright side, because I'm not using the new data tags, this will still work in 1.7. So if you guys have a 1.7 server you want to put this on, then you totally can, and your players can lose all their money that way. But yeah, so let me get into what these are doing. So first of all, when you push these buttons, all it does right here is just activates these different command blocks, which basically just have the redstone blocks on each one of these. So the red one corresponds to that one, the green one corresponds to this. And I made these coordinates all relative for you guys, just so you could copy and paste this just as a schematic and it'd still work. So yeah, what it does, it sets this one, if for example you see a redstone block will appear over there for a second, or you didn't really see it, because it sets a block back to air. But anyway, what it's doing, it's pretty much just, replacing all of these with air except for the red one. So set that one to redstone block, but set the rest to air. This way it'll show the red one as being selected. And then over here, it sets the score of gamble red to 1, but it resets all the scores of the other gamble objectives to 0. So that's how it tells which one it's gambling for. It says, okay, the score of gamble red is 1, so that means he's gambling for red. So anyway, when you push the button, what it does, it just sets a block over here to a redstone block, which is this one, I believe. And it runs all these objectives, and these say, test for all the players in a radius of 20, just so it won't get messed up if there's a lot of players on your server. And it tests for score of gamble 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on up to 8, and that's how it chooses it. Now the reason it does this is because this is how I'm doing the randomizer here. I just have a super fast clock, and if I set the scoreboard objective here, if I set this to gamble, you will see that's just an objective just going up and down insanely fast, because that's what this clock is doing. It's just setting everyone's score of gamble who's 8 back to 0, and it's just constantly adding 1 to every player's gamble score. Now, what this does, it just says if the score is at least 10, it'll set their score to -1. And oops, this one should set it back to -1. Sorry about that. And the reason it has to be set to -1 is because the orange objective is 0, and it just doesn't work on 0 for whatever reason. But anyways, so yeah, and then that will reset it. So what happens is, it says, so this is, if it's 0, it's red, if it's 1, it's dark green. So that's how it chooses the colors. Then what it does, it'll hit this row of command blocks, and each one will hit this command block through something. We just set the block right here to a redstone block, and what this does, after a 3-tick delay, it will set the block back there to air, but then it will replace this chest right here with a regular chest, so it'll basically delete this chest. Now the reason it does that, because, you know, if you lose, you lose. But if you win, over here, it sets all players' score of gamble, or excuse me, yeah, it sets every player's score of gamble to 9 if they win, basically, or no, it sets their score of gamble to 9 though, just so it'll kind of have a second to reset, because if I didn't do this, then the player could literally just stand here, hold the button down, and they would just constantly, would always win on green. But I fixed that bug, so if you win, you actually have to choose a new color as well, or at least like reselect the color you want. Just because I set it up in a way so it can't be cheated. Maybe even a little inconvenient, but it's uncheatable. So then over here, once it determines which colors hit, it'll say, well, first of all, it'll set this block back to a redstone block, and that's why it's setting these scores to 9, because that way it's 0 to 8, so nothing will be activated, so this just resets this group of hoppers. And then after that, it just continues, and, you know, if it hits red, it'll say red has won, if it hits green, it'll say dark green has won, and so on. And then it says, so that's how you know which one it's win. But then after that it says, so if red wins, it'll say if their score of red is at least, gamble red is at least 1. If like, which one is this? If cyan wins, it'll say test for if their score of cyan is at least 1. So if it is, then what will happen? You know, it'll reset their score back to 0, and it will, over here, this, or it should reset this. I'm not even sure where the redstoning is that does that. But yeah, it's just gonna clone the block right there where the chest is. It's gonna clone it to there, and then it's also gonna clone it to the one above it. That way, so you get your items doubled. Then it resets your gamble score. And then right, this is where it resets the scores. So that way, it resets all your gamble scores to 0, which is the reason this works. Because otherwise, you would not be able to win on the same color twice. It just wouldn't work. Because the comparator, the repeater or comparator would, it would stay on. That way, when it came around the second time, it would still be on. Nothing new would happen, so you wouldn't actually win, even if you did. So yeah, you just have to, after you win, you always have to make sure to like reselect a color. So it sets the block right there, the redstone block, to take care of that, and then it sets the block up here to a redstone block. Now what this guy does, it just does this stat block thing to all these. It just resets all these commands right here. Or it resets all the lights, so you know your colors have been reset. So I'll do it a few times and try to win. It is completely random though. I mean, it does, since it is a counter, it's not technically random, but it's still impossible to predict. As you see, it's going extremely fast. So we gamble. It says dark green is 1. And and something to note, even if you do not choose a color at all, you know, like, so I have nothing selected right now, or I still have that selected. I can't really reset it, but I'll just keep going until red wins. So there we go, red is 1. Now you see everything has been reset. And yeah, something to note, even if you're not betting for anything, so if you don't have a color selected that you're betting for, and you put stuff in the chest, it will still get cleared if you push the button. So if you want to burn items, that works too. So yeah, as you see, we didn't choose a color, but it still said what color won, and we lost our item. So I don't know. Let's gamble for orange. Why not? Hit the button in there. Let's get this guy going. Dark green is 1. Okay, so we lost it. We can try red now. And hit this. Dark green is 1 again. Okay. Put a redstone block in there. Blue has 1. Okay. Well, let's go for a different color. Why not cyan? Put our beautiful redstone comparator in there. And aqua has 1. And that we actually did win. That was just a mistake where I put cyan and aqua as the same thing. So I will run over here really quick and actually change that to, where is it, right here? Yes, I said aqua instead of cyan. That was just a mistake because the color I'm actually using to represent it is dark aqua. But anyway, so yeah, you saw what happened when we won. Our items, we got 2 of them because, you know, it just puts in here, and they just kind of trickle down. So even if you have the chest like completely filled to capacity with stuff, like, I don't know, anything, you have your lifetime supply of saplings and you're feeling very lucky. So yeah, even if the chest is completely filled and you get your items doubled, they will, what the heck? Apparently you can do that in creative. Okay, so yeah, let's go for yellow, why not? Okay, and Okay, so it is pretty difficult to win, I will admit. But yeah, so if you want to post this on a server or something, for your players to kind of like lose all their money, I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't want to. Or even better, what you could do, you could build a bank just by putting a hopper underneath this guy and a chest underneath that. So like when the player puts stuff in there, it would come down to this chest. But that way you wouldn't have to clear the chest. They would lose their items immediately, and then you could just move the coordinates of that down, so it would kind of close their items. But that way it would still like the items would just kind of slowly build up and build up until someone won, sort of like a jackpot. But yeah, so that is how the Gamble-O-Matic. Choose a color, then lose some money. That is how this works, guys. So yeah, if you want to download the schematic and just pop it into World, yeah, I'll leave that in the description for you guys to do. But yeah, just two things to note when you get the schematic. To make it work, what you have to do, you have to put a redstone block right here to get this clock running. And you're going to have to push this button over here to turn on these objectives. I mean, I didn't do the best job of compressing it. I probably could have stacked these up here. But still, you can just put walls around it or something, whatever you want. So yeah, this is the Gamble-O-Matic, and really, you don't need to worry about causing too much lag with this redstone clock, because, yeah, it shows nothing because it's so fast, so it all works and everything. So yeah, that's the Gamble-O-Matic. Excuse me. Yeah, make sure to download it and check it out for yourselves. If you get, guys, tell me what you think in the comments, but that's all I really got for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode.